Okay, this is a quick tips how-to on student day 1, starting to develop code to the Thousand Eyes API. Now, we realize that everybody must have their favorite IDE, but it is not in the capacity of this lab for us to support or help people with many different IDEs. So we kind of are using IntelliJ. If you want to use IntelliJ, you can download a free 30-day evaluation. If you don't, I recommend you use Python idle. It just comes with a Python install. Now, to work along with these exercises, we are recommending that you install the Jupyter Notebook. It's free, quick and easy to install. We provided instructions. It'll allow you to follow on. Realize a lot of people are probably using Microsoft Visual Studio. It's a very complex product. We don't have the capacity in the lab to support that specific tool or provide support. So I would say at a bare minimum, please use Python idle and or the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so moving right along, let's start a new Jupyter Notebook, Python 3. And please navigate to the file in your repo called TEAPI Agent Server Tests, or actually, let's start out with a different one. Let's start out with get agents. Get agents.py. Nope. Actually, let's just start out with, agent server tests, because the first part of this actually, first part of this gets the agents. Okay, we'll start out with this one. Now, if you go to developer.thousandeyes.com and you navigate to tests, creating a test, if you read through this, to summarize, to create a test, you have to have the agent IDs. So the first step is to get the agent IDs. Now there's a bunch of different types of agents, and we've installed the enterprise agents. So we are actually first, before we can create a test, because we can't create a blank test, we need to get the list of our agent IDs. We cannot do that through the GUI. We need to do it through the API. So let's go ahead and if we go down to, let's see, endpoint agents, listing all agents. The first thing what we're going to do is query the API for our enterprise agents. You can read through this later. We're going to just skip through and give you the shortcut. So the first thing we're going to do is use Python to make a connection to the API, and we are going to query all the agents and see what it brings back. So let's do that. So go ahead and copy line 1 to 13. And go ahead and just delete out this, or you can comment it out for now. Actually, let's just, well, let's comment it out. Test name. We're not creating the test quite yet. We will come back later after we have our list of agents and create the test. So you can call your test. We can just queue this up in advance, your branch name. So in this demo case, I'm going to be US East 2B user. So that's what I'm going to call my test. And if you want to create many tests, you can call it test 1. But like I said, we're going to comment this out for now. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to import a few modules here. Then what we are going to do is we are going to specify our token. Now, yes, at this point in time, we are doing local development, but we are just playing around this. When we get ready to actually really test our code, we're going to do it on the OCI build container. But right now, we're just kind of like playing around, and we're going to see what the API brings back. So when you're working in the pipeline actually is able to inject these variable values in. But because we're working outside the pipeline, we're just going to specify, this is the OAuth token, by the way. And yes, this is an insecure way of doing it. That's why DevOps engineers, we almost never, ever do local development. We develop everything through our pipeline. But anyways, let's start out like this and go ahead and click run. Okay. So the next step is we want to actually bring back the response from the API in a JSON blob. So go ahead and let's just copy line 15 and paste it in and hit enter. And we want to see the results. So we're going to type print, and please type along with me, print agent underscore list underscore JSON and hit run. All right, so look what the API brought back. It brought back a massive amount of JSON. Now we know that we only have a few enterprise agents. So what is all this stuff? So when we queried all the agents. So we don't want to create a test for all of our agents. We just want to create them for our enterprise agents. So we're going to have to figure out how to filter this JSON data to return to us our list of enterprise agents. So we can see here, if we want to see what this is, we all know that JSON is composed of lists and dictionaries, and sometimes we have embedded dictionaries and lists, all sorts of stuff. And when it's in a blob like this, it's really hard to know what we're looking at. So we can, at the beginning here, type print type agent list JSON. Let's run that. And we don't need to see the blob. We just want to see what it is. So it's returned for us a dictionary. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can get out a list of type agents. So underneath our print type, let's copy over line 16. And then what we're going to do again is we're going to say print agent list. Let's run this. All right, this is looking a little bit better, kind of. We're not quite there, right? We need to do a little bit more work. So let's set our list of dictionaries to agent list. So let's copy line 17 below. And then let's try to filter for sought value enterprise. Okay, and now if we want to print out the result of this, we would just type print sought value. We can remove this and we can remove this. And let's run it. Okay. We're not quite there yet. Let's create an empty array. And in our dictionary, that's in our list of dictionaries, which it consists of all of our agents, we're going to say if our agent type in dictionary is equal to enterprise, bring back those values. So let's go ahead and we are going to just copy line 19 through 23. And we are going to paste it in here. And let's run this whole thing and see what happens. Okay, this is looking a lot better. It's still not good enough. We don't need all this. What we're trying to do is come up with just a list of our enterprise agent IDs so that we can pass that to the API to create a test populated with our agent IDs. So we have to work on this data a little bit more. So at this point in time, we're going to give you a bit of a shortcut. And then what we're going to do is give you the task of going off and using this template, which is the foundation for a Python module. We haven't turned it into a module yet. It's still script. To go off and create the second part, which is to actually create the test and populate it with these agent IDs. Now, okay, we still have a little bit of work to do. So we came down to line 23. The next thing, what we're going to do is we are going to populate an empty list with the agent ID key and value. And the reason why we're going to do that is the format that this API would like to have this data presented. So let's go ahead and we're going to go from line 25 to 30 and we're going to paste that in here and we're going to run it. And wow, look, it brought back just the agent IDs, and it also, which we printed out here, it also brought it back in the format that we need to pass into the create test portion of the API. All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of a user activity. We're going to give you 15 minutes. And based off of the information we provided and this script template, we are going to challenge you to write the second part of this equation, which is to create a test and populate that test with your list of agent IDs. Now, if you get stuck, don't worry, don't stress. Please request for help in the chat. And in order of precedence, we will respond with a share screen and do a code pairing session to help block you. Now, we may not be able to get to everybody in this session, so don't worry. At the end of the training today, we're reserving 2 hours for code pairing with each of you. And as well, if you don't have time to spend after the lab, you can literally submit your work into your Git branch overnight, and we will check it in the morning and we will edit it. And you will be able to see in your repo in the morning the solution and do a git diff so you can see what was changed. All right, so at this point in time, for those of you who understand JSON and understand basic Python, feel free to work ahead on your assignment. For those of you who are kind of new to JSON and need some additional training, we're now going to spend 30 minutes and give you start to finish information in regards to what is JSON, working with JSON in Python. And after that, we will be taking a short break. And when we return, we are going to jump into actually testing out this code in the DevOps work methodology which is to use an ephemeral build container through the pipeline to run a task. If we are happy with our task, we will then push the code into our branch and we can build it in the pipeline. All right, so everybody, we're going to give you some time now to work on your assignment, and we will check back in 15-20 minutes.